All right, 9-3, getting into rotations today. It fits right along with what we've been doing. We've done reflections where we flip a shape or take some vertices and flip them over a line of symmetry. We have done translations where we slide that shape across the graph according to the vector that they've given us, which tells us the distance and direction that we're doing that. And so now we're going to look at rotating. And so think about like the hands on a clock rotating, but the middle point of that clock, the hands rotate around that. Same deal today when we get on a coordinate plane, then our shape that we draw is going to rotate around the origin or around 0, 0. So when you're done with this, you should be able to do rotations in the coordinate plane no matter how many degrees of rotation they tell you that they want you to rotate, all right? Basically, here's the meat of today. We're going to rotate things 90 degrees, 180, or 270 degrees. And here are the formulas. So we're going to graph a pre-image, and those are going to be made up of X and Y, obviously ordered pair. And then these are the formulas to rotate either 90, 180, or 270 degrees. And you can see to rotate 90 degrees, you flip the order of your X and Y and take the opposite of the Y. To get 180 degrees, you just flip the signs of your original ordered pair, but you keep them in the same order. And then to move something 270 degrees, you flip-flop your X and Y, and you take the opposite of your X value. I have written that again right here. Let's just get down into the examples. I'll give you one of each. All right, here we go. Triangle LMN has vertices, and it gives you the 3 ordered pair. So very simply, we went and drew triangle LMN right over here. -1, -1, 0, -4, -6, -2. Now to rotate it 90 degrees, we're going to move it pretty much a quadrant away, but we're going to continue to rotate that around the origin of our coordinate graph. Here's our formula to rotate 90 degrees. We take the opposite of the Y, and then we put the X in that order. So to get to L prime, remember we did our pre-image. Now we're going to do our image, which in this instance is going to be L prime. I take the opposite of my Y, which makes it 1, and I take my X and put it as is. So L prime is at 1, -1. I look at point M. All right, I'm going to take the opposite of the Y. That Y is -4, so I'm going to plug in +4. And then I'm going to obviously take my X and put it there at 0. If you ever get that you're supposed to take the quote-unquote opposite of 0, we don't have -0, we just have 0, which we wouldn't have done there anyways. Look at N, I'm going to take the opposite of Y, so -2 becomes 2, and my X stays as is, -6. And you can see I've drawn my image, which is made up of my prime vertices, and we rotated that 90 degrees about the origin. All right, keep on rocking. Go to number 3. I'm going to take triangle ABC. It gives me the vertices for triangle ABC, and we're going to rotate it 180 degrees. So I've written right here, here's kind of the formula, for lack of a better term, that we're going to use. So I take point A, point B, point C, I graph, and now to go from my pre-image to my image, to get to my prime vertices, we take the opposite of X, and we take the opposite of Y, but we leave them in that order. We don't flip-flop the X and the Y here. So if my original X and Y was -3, 5, when I flip-flop, my -3 becomes +3, my 5 becomes -5. There's A prime. For B, again, I don't have the opposite of 0, so it stays 0, and then 2 becomes -2. To get to C prime, I take the opposite of these. So -5, 1 becomes 5, -1. Draw your shape. There it is. Moved it 2 quadrants about the origin, right? Rotated it about the origin 180 degrees. Last one, parallelogram PQRS. So 4 vertices that we're going to rotate 270 degrees about the origin. All right. So here's our formula. Take your Y to get to your prime vertices. Take your Y, put it first. Take the opposite of your X and put it second to make your new ordered pair. So here's P, Q, R, and S. You can see the drawing right there. So let's go flip it. P prime, I take Y, put it as is, so that's 7. I take the X and flip the sign, -4. Go to Q to make Q prime, I take the Y and put it, so that's 6. I take the X, which is also 6, and take the opposite of it. It becomes -6. There's Q prime. R prime, I take the Y, which is -2, put it there. I take the X and take the opposite of it. The opposite of 3 is -3. So my R prime is -2, -3. Take point S, I look at the y. Y is -1, so I put in -1. Then I come back and look at the x. X is 1, and I take the opposite of that, which is also -1. Draw it. There's your image. So pre-image and image, there's the three main things that you need, or formulas that are going to help you through graphing rotations on the coordinate plane. So now you know how to do that. Obviously, you're going to have a skills assignment that you can look and you can continue this. We're going to keep rolling. Dilation's coming up next. Thanks.